cup of cereal.
Very funny, very funny.
I love April Fool's Day. Best day of the year.
Kenan, have you been messing with my bathroom stuff? My face cream won't come off.
Well, that's because Kel and I replaced your face cream with paint. Yeah, it's your April Fool's present.
It's not funny.
Yes, it is.
Oh, come on, Cheryl, have a sense of humor. They dump cereal all on me, and you don't see me getting all angry. I can take a joke.
I'm glad to hear that, Pop, because what's a whole bunch of cereal without a whole lot of milk?
You know, if trees could talk, they'd call me Aaron.
If trees couldn't talk, they'd probably call me Adam. Welcome to Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. The show where we talk about Kenan and Kel, and we're Adam and Aaron.
Yep, we're Adam and Aaron, and we're here towards the end of the end.
This is the penultimate episode of the final season of Kenan and Kel.
Adam, we're almost there.
Yeah, soon the pandemic will be over. As it aligned with...
Rest assured, Fantas.
Yeah.
Rest assured.
Sorry it's taken so long. We've talked about 60 or so episodes of Kenan and Kel, the 90s Nickelodeon sitcom. And we are healthily in the year 2000 with the airing of these episodes. This episode aired on April 1st, 2000.
Yeah, we kind of like jumped around. Does it seem like there was a release block?
Oh, yeah. This season was scattershot.
Yeah, what the heck? That's no way to do a final season.
It's the way a lot of final seasons happen. Things were coming out pretty steadily from August to December. Actually, I should say August to October. Pretty steady stream of episodes. Then Futurama jumped to, like, New Year's. And then 4 months later, the April Fools came out. So they chose not to air this one back into production, like, you know, earlier in the season. They said, let's hang on to that one until April Fool's Day.
Wow, that's quite the commitment.
And then a month later, May 3rd is when the final, like, official episode aired.
Yeah, the three-parter.
No, there's one after this.
You think I would know? I'll know by the end. I'll know my Kenan and Kel trivia. I hope there's going to be another quiz, Adam. I think there should be like a Scantron.
I was considering doing a final exam.
We can do that.
But I'm like, I don't think. Well, first of all, our season review episodes aren't super well listened to, so I'm not sure.
Well, that's too bad for them.
Yeah. Hey, we can break it up. I do want to do a top 10 of the whole series.
We're gonna do a top 10 of everything. Top 10 outfits. Top 10 characters. We got to talk about top 10 moments, plots.
Plenty to cover, but let's start getting into this penultimate episode, the April Fools.
Kenan and Kel are going to get into some trouble here.
Yeah, let's join Cooley on the big orange couch and talk about it. So, Kel has a wonderful outfit this one. He has enormous black overalls and a gray and red t-shirt underneath.
They're nice overalls.
They are.
Looks like they're nice. That 2000 material, you know, like the 2000 jean material.
The pockets look like they button all the way down, like they're rip-off overalls or something.
He looks like he could have multiple pairs of pants on underneath. Kenan is doing the expose of the episode. This is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of laughs. And as he's kind of winding up this intro, Kel winds up and kicks him in the buttocks.
Yep, you hear a thud sound, and he's like, "What was that for?" And he's like, "There's a kick me sign on the back of on your back, April Fools."
Kenan turns around and he goes, "What? Kick me? What? And he does that thing where he tries to reach the middle of his back. You know the thing.
Yeah, can you reach the middle of your back?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too. I think we lucked out genetically on that front.
We just have flexible shoulders.
Yeah. So. Kel's like, "Oh, wait a second," and he checks his pockets, and he pulls out the kick me sign. He's like, I forgot to put it on you.
He puts it on him, and then he does this kind of Karate Kid, Tai Chi, breath movement.
Yeah, he goes, then he strikes like a fierce pose, and Kid's just like, no, you don't kick me.
Yep, he lifts his shoe up, and he's wearing these great white shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Not sharks, but like they're white and they're great.
Kel accuses Kenan of not being able to take a joke. And then Kenan says, I can take plenty of jokes and there'll be plenty of time for that this episode. Which I think that's kind of the theme here of, like, what is a joke? And when does a prank go too far?
And that's, who better to explore that question than our favorite duo in cinematic history, Kenan and Kel.
Yeah.
Because they have never taken a joke too far. They have never taken a concept too far.
Kenan puts the sign on Kel and then kicks him as he leaves. And Kel asks, Kenan, why did you pat me on the back and then kick me?
Oh, wait, doesn't Kel, take the kick me sign off and he goes, oh, I see.
Yeah, he's like, good one. Here it goes.
Right. So far, jokes are things that cause physical pain.
Oh, okay. I think that it's in line with most of the things on this episode.
Yep. It's funny when you're in pain.
We start in the Rockmore kitchen.
Actually, Adam, we start in the Rockmore living room.
Oh?
Where we see Roger walk down the stairs in his jammies. And he is yawning and like he's walking over to get what it looks like is breakfast.
Yeah. All right, so he makes his way into the kitchen, cracks open a cabinet, is looking for stuff, and what happens?
All the cereal falls on him from the top shelf.
I want to say like a bucket worth of cereal.
Yeah, it's definitely more than a box.
It looks like it's more than what the cabinet can hold. is what pours onto him from inside the cabinet, like ejects at him.
Well, what's funny is in the camera, in like the cut, you can't see where the top of the cabinet is. So they definitely could have gotten like a whole entire like 10-pound bag of cereal and just dumped it on him.
Yeah, we're going to see more of that in a sec here. Kenan and Kel emerge and they start celebrating. I absolutely adore Kel's outfit in the first half of this episode. Might be like a top 10 Kel outfit for me.
Do you want to describe that shirt, Adam?
He has the appearance of a cab driver. He's got like we call it the flat page boy hats and
yep.
And then he's got like a kind of like a Hawaiian naval shirt on, like a yellow button down short sleeve.
Yellow? It looks white.
Is it white? Okay.
Yeah, it's always so weird. You don't have the episode pulled up in front of you.
No, and the quality of my DVD rips aren't nearly as good as yours.
I should have given you my Paramount Plus account long ago.
Yeah, well, we're a little too close to the end now.
I do want to just say, before we go any further, I loved how this episode opened. It's just Roger.
Yes.
Just Roger. Walking around his house in the morning, just like giving a big yawn, get his bowl of cereal. I just always love seeing like the world of characters. Like, I wish we could see Chris in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, what does Chris's morning routine look like?
It probably involves Mother.
Yeah, right. But what does it look like? It's great. So I love that stuff. The inside world.
I also think it does a good job showing off what the pace is going to be for this episode.
Yep.
And it's that, like, sure, these jokes and pranks aren't necessarily like roll on the floor laughing, but there's so many of them and they're so fast that it's nothing but, like, a good cut of the episode.
Right, so Roger is kind of upset, but then he's also like, oh, boys will be boys kind of attitude. The next prank is exposed. Who comes in the room, Adam?
It's Cheryl, and she's accusing Kenan of messing with her face cream. She still has her look on.
Her green face mask. And they say that they replaced her face mask with paint.
Which is... Immediately we are like, oh, is this going too far? To have someone just paint their face.
Right. And then we look over to see Roger and Kenan, because Kel's kind of standing with Cheryl. So we see Roger and Kenan, and Roger is like, oh, like, that's a good one.
Yeah, this is when Roger kind of has a change of heart, because he's like, when he's laughing at someone else, he's like, look, I can take a joke. Look at me, ha, cereal fell on me.
And him and Kenan are genuinely having a good time at this. And Kel, too. Kel's trying to cheer up Cheryl.
There's a lot of that throughout this episode.
Roger puts his arms around Kenan and Kel, and he's like, yeah, I have a good sense of humor.
Ha, ha. And then Kenan kind of says, like, yeah, what? And what's a whole bunch of cereal without a whole lot of milk?
Right. Pulls a string, and a bucket of milk pours on Roger.
A bucket of milk that falls from the ether.
Yes.
Like, above wherever their ceiling is.
From the production ether.
Yeah, a giant, amount of gallons of milk pour onto Roger.
Yep. And then Cheryl is loving it. She's loving that Roger got what he asked for. We have a transition clip here of Lucky Charms.
Yes, we do. Or are they Google Puffs?
Perhaps they're both.
All right.
I give up. But anyways, the first energy we get from this episode is just pure chaos. It's April Fool's Day, and Kenan and Kel are unhinged.
Yeah, we've seen Kenan as a prankster before, but this is him like in his element.
He's in his element, and then it seems like our next character is in his element too, because he's getting accepted to college.
Yes, Mark Cram is back for his final appearance.
Yes, I was so glad to see Mark Cram once again. Soon after in this scene, Charlotte comes out, and I love it because we're 4 minutes into the episode. And we got a lot of our favorite characters so far.
We talked about this last season at the end, how like Who Loves Who is kind of a better season finale because it features, it's the full cast there. They're dancing, they're having a good time. I think this is the spiritual like season finale of Kenan and Kel, possibly of the whole series.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's, and we'll get into this later, but it's showing when pranking isn't really allowed anymore because you're growing up.
Yes, right.
Right, there's like real world consequences to pranks. Mm-hmm. We'll get to it.
Absolutely, and real world consequences to just Kenan and Kel's shenanigans in general.
Let's entertain our imaginations and engage in this reality for one last giant fun prank episode. And so Mark Cram is talking about his recruiter from, did you get the name of the college?
Yeah, Northeast Western University.
That's right. Northeast Western. He came and he's recruiting him or whatever. And Mark Cram's super smart, so it seems like he's going to get in.
I like that Kenan's college that he's applying for is not the same one. And
yeah.
That makes sense to me. It's like he feels like he's going to like the, what do you call it, the community college equivalent.
Yeah, or just not. He's not going to the Ivy League in Chicago,
Yeah, the place that he's going to is, or he's trying to get into is Southwest Northern College.
Yeah, very creative names because those do sound like real schools.
Yeah, but then you look at it on paper and like, oh, this is just a gobbledygook.
Those are just directions.
Yeah, so he's got a recruiter coming over this evening at 6, and he's like, oh, I gotta get ready for that.
He stopped by to get his clam juice and spinach to celebrate.
Yeah. Mark's celebrating with that gross stuff. Meanwhile, Kel is sitting on the, I want to say Kel, like 10 out of 10 A+ background stuff. When he's not like engaged in the story, he's doing really fun things on the side. He's making like arts and crafts and accessories out of tinfoil.
Yeah, he's got like a hat on. He's got this little like almost like dreadlocks.
Yeah, he's got a, like, what do you call it? It looks like earphones, glasses, like wristbands, and a watch.
Yeah, he's really decked out.
When Mark wants to make the transaction, Kenan's like, oh, Charlotte, get in here.
You're like, oh, Kenan's just being lazy. And then you say, wait a second, something's going to happen when Charlotte rings him up. So Charlotte rings him up, and boom, snakes pop out of the cash register. And we have our third prank.
Paper snakes shoot out of here. And Mark passes out immediately.
It's very sad.
Yeah, well, he says in a moment when he gains consciousness, he says, I pass out all the time, don't worry about it.
Some people do that, just have low blood pressure.
Yeah, I think he scares easily, that makes sense. Although...
It's like you wouldn't survive in the wild.
He kind of has... Mark Cram kind of has like, his name's a palindrome, but he's kind of follows the opposite route of Chris as a character. Because this is his last appearance, and in it, he has a trait that he didn't have for the whole rest of the show. Kind of like how Chris, in the first episode, like has that twitch he doesn't have for the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I love how they got rid of that twitch. They're like, yeah, we're not doing that. Like, because at one point in time, somebody had a conversation about that twitch. They had to sit down, and they had to decide whether he was going to have a twitch.
I gotta say, I think that Chris may have changed the most as a character throughout the whole show. And things that the writers just, like, forgot to assign him. Like, remember earlier this season, he's like, I never got my driver's license.
Yeah, like, wait a second.
When he's had a car and like, driving people around, like earlier on.
And he has a super successful brother.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere, so...
But anyways, what do they do to Mark Cram while he's asleep? Or passed out?
Kenan's like, let's put something funny in his backpack.
And what's funnier than raw meat?
Yeah, that's his go-to. Kel's suggestion is that they put money in his backpack, which is very funny. I have to say, I absolutely love the way that Kel's written this episode.
Yeah.
It's a different side of Kel, and he's got some different like one-liners that he wouldn't normally have. This episode is written by Erica Rothschild, who this is her first episode ever written.
It's pretty strange, in my opinion, how they have, last writers, first writers and towards the end of the season. But I guess that's how these kind of shows were made.
Worth mentioning, too, this could be like a writer's room situation, and this is what the table looks like, and,
Yeah.
she's been contributing a little bit every episode. This is just the one that she was credited on. Like, we tend to assign a specific writer, when I think it might be more of a group effort, and one person gets credit.
Right. It's very possible that's true.
We'll say this episode is directed by Virgil Fabian, whose fingerprints are all over this thing, the last Virgil project.
Yeah, and it's a great hit, as always. Mm-hmm. But I do agree, Kel is written exceptionally well, especially his background stuff.
Yes, Kenan puts a bunch of raw meat in Mark's backpack. As he's leaving, Charlotte's trying to stop him, but then Kenan Kel use tinfoil, wrap it around her head, and she's like, she wasn't saying anything.
Yep, and then Mark runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's kind of upset, and then she's walking over to dust something with her dust brush. Or what do you call that, a feather duster?
Yeah, feather duster. And she's like, you guys are so childish.
Right.
And then they say, do you want to hear what we did to prank Chris?
She's all excited. She's like, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, she has a childish streak, too.
And what is the gag here, Adam?
A fake lottery ticket for $36 million.
And right on cue, Chris runs out of the back and says, I just won $36 million in the lottery.
I love how his attitude changes immediately. He's just like...
Instantly.
I don't know why I'm wasting my time talking to you poor people. I need to spend.
I love this. I got rich guy stuff to do. See ya. I love Chris in this episode. The money just goes straight to his head. It's exactly what what people tell you not to do if you ever win the lottery.
Yes, which for anyone listening out there, if you do win the lottery, tell no one. Go collect your money in disguise. Act as if you don't have any money. No more money than you had previously, and do that for as long as possible.
And probably put it in like a hedge fund or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, just invest it.
Immediately talk to an accountant and do something with you.
Or, somebody who knows how to handle money. I think people know that. Why are we giving advice on the lottery?
I don't know. Because
We've
maybe
never
this is
won the lottery. Adam, have you won the lottery?
No. But I could.
It sounds like you did. That was pretty suspicious.
I saw that on Reddit before because when that thing pops up, like people asking oh, what would you do if you won the lottery? The answer with most awards is tell no one. Statistically, your life is over and bad things are going to happen.
You will develop some kind of substance abuse issue because you have just an abundance of substances.
I think the main, most realistic thing that happens that everyone that's ever heard of you is going to come to you with their money problems. And they're not going to believe you when you say that you don't have it or you, have spent it elsewhere, and you just run into a bunch of drama.
I would buy a certain building and burn it to the ground. That's what I would do. So I love how Chris is just mean. He's like, I don't need you poor people.
Mm-hmm. He makes up for it later. Let's go to the Rockmore household for a brief scene.
Ding dong, Cheryl with her face mask still on.
Yeah, she answers the door. I like how you can see the kind of damage throughout this episode slowly accumulating. That's a good Kenan Kel.
Yeah.
So who's at the door, Aaron?
It's a postman.
Yes.
Who has a delivery for Cheryl Rockmore.
Huh?
She says, I'm Cheryl Rockmore.
It's from Kenan Kel.
And it's a pie to the face.
And he runs away.
I wish this was still a thing.
you can...
Can I start this service again? Do you think that's a good entrepreneurial venture?
Not in this day and age, no. You'd probably get sued.
Yeah, come on. People are so boring.
Yeah, sorry. It doesn't happen anymore. Cheryl runs upstairs. Kenan Kel come into the room with, their lunches. Seems like the pie delivery guy was here because the whipped cream's everywhere.
Meanwhile, Cheryl, has to, crawl upstairs because she's, slipping.
That you can't see.
There is whipped cream everywhere. Kenan, so what's that? Prank number...
4.
5. 5. Prank number 5.
If you got the bucket of milk and the bucket of cereal and the paints, that's a grand total of 7 so far.
7 so far.
Kenan says to Kel, hey, good buddy, I got you a 2-liter of orange soda right there on the little table. Why don't you have it?
Yeah, so he puts their sandwiches down.
Yeah, and Kel's like, I'm really glad that we have a truce and we're not pranking each other before this.
And Kenan's kind of like laughing to himself. And of course, the orange soda bottle is glued to the table.
And Kel, I always remember this scene. This is so good. Kel insists that he's got to do what he's got to do.
Yep. So he lifts the table off and turns it upside down and drinks it, which probably was pretty fun for Kel to film.
You can tell that Kenan is legitimately laughing a lot at this.
Yeah, because there is just orange soda running all the way down Kel.
Yeah, he throws the table on the ground and then he says, "That was cruel."
I thought you said we weren't going to play jokes on each other. And then Kenan goes, I never said that.
Roger comes downstairs, mad at Kenan. He's like, "Did you hire a postman?" And he goes,
That's not Roger. You lost your Roger voice.
and he's like, "Ooh, a sandwich."
It's still not there. Yeah. And then Kel's like, wait, no. And then he admits that he put wet cement in Kenan's sandwich, which Roger just ate.
Yeah. And Kenan's very much like, "Whoa, hang on. That's not a prank."
It's like, wait a second. You could have glued my mouth together for days.
He says weeks.
Weeks.
Which is a terrifying concept.
Yeah, that's not fun. Although it would kind of be nice to not have to talk for 2 weeks.
You can just do that, you know. You can just say that you've joined you're doing like an experiment.
I should do that for my students. I think Miley Cyrus did that in an episode of Hannah Montana. When she lost her voice.
Yeah, she lost her voice, and then she did that to recover correctly, and
Right?
I do remember this.
See, I'm not crazy.
No,
Hannah Montana with Adam and Aaron. What do you think?
I don't know. I was watching I've been watching a couple episodes of different shows that Kenan Kel star in. I prepping them for us to watch on this episode on this program.
Like what?
They have a cameo in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god! In what capacity?
It's a what if scenario. It's honestly like less than a minute of the full episode. Like 30 seconds worth you see Kenan and Kel in a scene.
Well, it needs to be more.
So Roger is very upset and he's mumbling.
Yeah. Yep. So he goes over and like fumbles through to get a pen and paper, and he writes, "I'm very angry at you.
I can't wait until my mouth is unstuck so I can yell at you.
P.S. No more jokes. I'm warning you."
The doorbell rings, and he goes to get it before Kenan Kel can stop him, so they run away up to Kenan's room.
Same postman.
"Are you Roger?" Pie to the face.
The same pie to the face. So that's prank number. Orange soda would be 8.
Yep.
Some wet cement would be 9. Pie to the face to Roger, 10.
10 in like under 10 minutes. Like this is.
Oh yeah.
It's a
They're
lot.
going for it. They're going for the record.
So up in Kenan's room, Kel's like, "Hey Kenan, don't you want to work on your computer?"
He's doing like the SpongeBob laugh. And Kenan's like, "Wait a second, where is my computer?" Where it is, Adam?
"Maybe you should look out your window." Yeah, it's been smashed to a million pieces because Kel threw it out the window.
And now we're getting to the point where, like, you know, like pie to the face is one thing. Eating wet cement is a different thing. Destroying property is, what's that called? Vandalism?
Sure. They have a philosophical conversation about what's really a prank and what's not. And I think that this is an instant where Kel not understanding what's going on is having direct like karmic like feedback into Kenan.
Right.
And Kenan, the more like pranks Kenan does that like aren't really pranks, like, you know, tricking someone to like spending a lot of money, it basically is what a lot of his upcoming pranks like, you know, devolve into. Means that Kel like sees these and he's not interpreting them correctly.
Previously, Kel thought that both of them had a truce, but then Kenan pranked Kel. Now, Kel pranked Kenan, which with the computer out the window trick, and Kenan is asking Kel for a truce. because they're supposed to be playing pranks on other people.
This is the other part of this episode, the unsteady truce. I think any prankster would know this, is that like it's the perfect occasion. When someone thinks that they're in the clear, then boom, you got them with another one.
Exactly, because you made a pact to not prank them.
The rest of the episode gets very greedy with that. I think greed is the sin of this episode. Then, it becomes very boy who cried wolf.
It does. Well, let's look at it. Kenan goes to Kel. He says, look, we're a team. Like Siegfried and Roy. Abbott and Costello.
And Kel's like, yeah, Magic and Korean or Penn and Teller. Like quoting the theme song.
I love that. And I think you're right about this being like the soul of Kenan and Kel, right? Like,
yes.
Absolutely. They wove in the theme song. As they're making a pact to not do any more pranks.
They hear Roger come up the stairs, and Kenan goes, quick, hit yourself in the head with that dictionary.
And he does.
And it's like, gotcha.
Yeah, and now Kenan's just taking advantage of Kel for believing anything he'll say. It's a very strange friendship when we go that way, but that's what happens. So what's that, prank 11?
Yep, computer was 11, the dictionary was 12. So I'm writing 12 down, so I don't have to do this every time.
Wait, the computer was 11. Oh, yeah, it was 11.
So as Roger's trying to get in, Kenan says, quick, let's go out the window. And as the scene's transitioning, you see him from under his bed pull out a rope ladder.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's like you blink and you miss it, but he has a rope ladder for a second.
He does. I think they cut that because they don't want kids to get any ideas.
Yeah, I also think, did you have the end part of this episode?
I don't think so.
Well, there's I'm asking now because they have a PSA style announcement at the end about like why pranking is bad.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's part of. There's an edit of this that was kind of too bad for TV, where they're a little like more raucous.
Yeah, which we expect them to be at the same time. Not a good role model for kids.
Or it could just be this solo writer, like not really know that Kenan has never ever gone outside his window with a rope ladder.
Right. Exactly. So Kenan and Kel are at Rigby's. They're catching their breath. They're like, okay, let's just hang out here for a second.
Yeah. I will say this transition is about tomatoes. Like tomatoes falling. And you see the tomato bin like out in Rigby's.
Right.
Very appropriate prop for an episode all about jokes.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like, a comedian, when they do a bad joke, you throw tomatoes at them.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. The website.
Exactly.
Adam, are you a Rotten Tomatoes user? Because I feel like both of us are more IMDb people.
Yes, I don't go there on there often. Well, I mean, their system's really flawed.
How so? Because I never get good vibes. I think Rotten Tomatoes is almost always not accurate.
When you see a Rotten Tomatoes score, it reflects the number of reviewers, professional reviewers, that scored it above like a failing grade. Like if they give it a passing grade of, I think it's maybe like 70% and up, then it's ranked fresh, and the percentage you see is number of reviewers that call it fresh. So if you see a video, everyone could give like a movie 70s across the board, and then Rotten Tomatoes says, yeah, it's 100% fresh.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of messed up and jilted in that way.
Yeah, no, I like IMDb's system better.
It's more literal system, but IMDb only has doesn't have critic score and audience score. It just has audience score.
Right, but I think they might weigh them differently.
You have way more people competing in there
right.
So the bigger demographic, more accurate score, I guess, is the argument.
Right. I use it all the time.
Oh yeah, it helps. Yeah. It helps me determine if a movie's good or not. But I don't know. There's Rotten Tomatoes, especially. It's way swingier. I've seen some 20% movies on Rotten Tomatoes that are not 20% movies.
Oh yeah, and I think IMDb is the same thing. I used to think that it's like, oh, let me watch this movie and see if it's good or not. I'm like, wait a second, I have my own opinion.
Yep.
Like, and then I watch a movie and I'm like, this movie is amazing. And then I watch Spider-Man 3 and I'm like, it has a 6.9, but it feels like a 5.9. Like,
Yeah, well,
But then Spider-Man 2, I'm like, that's an 8.
oh, you think Spider-Man 2 is an 8?
I cried. Aunt May gets me every time.
Oh yeah, I also cried when I watched that movie.
That's what I mean.
When I cry, it means it's a 10. I guess is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Aunt May's like the best Spider-Man character of all time.
So the other
Anyways.
part, yeah, not to stray too far. This whole podcast is us proving that the IMDb score is like
That's exactly right. Yeah.
is nonsense.
This is bunk. Right, because if you're a fan of something, you watch a show something with a different lens. If you're a fan of one person in the show or a movie, we're big into Matthew McConaughey right now.
Okay.
It's like if I watch something with Matthew McConaughey, I'm gonna like it. Like he doesn't miss.
You see Kubo and the Two Strings?
No,
Highly recommend.
is it a movie?
Yeah, it's Leica stop motion. Matthew McConaughey is a voice of a character.
Oh, cool,
So,
neat.
and we're very far off topic, but let's get back to things. At Rigby's, they're talking about how Kenan's like, we got to go back at 6. That's when the recruiter's there. My parents won't be yelling at me because he'll be there. So that way, yeah, he's like come up with a good scheme.
Right, and Kel goes, man, you're so smart. You ever think about college? Which I think is actually a great line here because it's like Kel thinks Kenan's smart because Kenan knows how to like plan things and plan schemes and plots and whatnot. Like Kenan would be very successful if he was living with Frank Reynolds and It's Always Sunny. Like they
Yes.
love schemes and plots and well-financed endeavors. But that he's smart in the sense of the way a kid's smart.
Sure, right.
He's not smart in like the responsible like, hey, let's like, I don't know, contribute something meaningful or you know what I mean?
By smart, Kel means like you are clever with your irresponsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Kenan strikes me as a kid that like is very street smart and in like he doesn't do well like with grades wise because he doesn't apply himself. Yeah, because he's busy scheming of like get rich quick schemes and things like that instead.
I know a few kids like this.
The other interesting thing about Kenan is that this is the only time in the entire series you're not going to see this in the next episode of the TV movie where there's some foresight into what happens after the series. This is Kenan and Kel talking about college. Like,
Oh, true.
this is the only time we see that.
Right, exactly. They're thinking about what's after high school. It is interesting because we've watched them for 60 episodes and they've been in high school. Not in many episodes, but like they've been. That's like the background of the characters.
Also worth pointing out, this episode's out of order in terms of like the canon of the series because we've already saw them graduate. We saw that several episodes ago, them graduate from school, and this is back in April talking about college.
True.
So they hung onto this episode to release like kind of on the money.
This would be like junior year Kenan and Kel.
Oh no, I think it's senior year Kenan and Kel.
I know, no, but the recruiter. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I guess senior year would make sense still, but not in April.
I think maybe in the late 90s they were doing recruiters pretty late in the game,
It's possible.
and Kenan also pushed stuff off because as you saw, Mark got accepted. He got his accepted letter in the same time where Kenan's still talking to a recruiter.
Right. Okay.
So
Makes sense.
that timeline adds up.
Well written for the timeline. And so Kenan says, while we're here, why don't we play a joke on Charla, who's behind the counter? And Kel says, okay, I have to go outside real quick.
So he goes outside. Meanwhile, Charlotte's in the back, so he picks up the phone and he calls what establishments?
Pizza Farm.
Yeah, Pizza Farm. And he orders how many large pizzas?
75 large pizzas and a diet soda. And it's, what's the name? As Charla walks out from the back. Charla? She says, yeah. He hangs up real quick.
He does not hang up real quick. It takes him a long time to hang up.
He fumbles the phone as he tries to hang up quick.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's like having a blast this episode.
And then the best part is coming up right here. Mm-hmm. Greetings, my unrich friends. Chris walking in looking like Count Dracula.
Yeah, he has 3 layers of clothing on. He's got like
I love when they dress Chris up.
again, this is like his 5th form this season, and it's so good. This is also peak Chris, by the way. He's in the next episode, but this is him in his best form.
This is the best Chris.
He has a maroon turtleneck, over that, he's got like a red like salsa kind of shirts, like what the classmate Phil wore in class. That's covered in like bling, necklaces.
Oh, he's got
and,
gold chains everywhere.
Yeah, he's also got rings on his fingers. He's got a cane. Over that red shirt is a green suit, and over that suit, like draped on him, is another like
It's a cape.
like a cape / like purple like.
It's a cape.
His hair is slicked back. He's got like rich guy sunglasses on. He's got a cane. He's so rich.
It's so painful.
He has purchased 2 things for his favorite employees.
For Charla, a diamond tiara.
And she's very much like, oh, I can't accept this as she puts it on.
Why does everybody have the same accent today, Adam?
I don't know. She's like, it must have cost a fortune.
And he goes, well, I have a fortune. Ha 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 ha. Kenan, I got you a watch. It cost me $10,000.
And that's how he delivers. He's like, it cost me $10,000. As soon as Chris like thinks he's rich, he like adopts different accents.
Yeah, well, it's his alternate personalities coming out. He's like, this is who I thought I would be all these years ago.
And Charla, being like Kenan's conscience, is like really pressing him. It's like, Kenan, tell him.
Chris admits that he's been writing checks for all this stuff. Because
Yes.
Kenan's like, why haven't you haven't even gotten your money yet?
He's like, I've been writing checks in the meantime.
And so Charla's like, Kenan, tell him.
And Kenan is going to tell him, for what it's worth. But then a boy enters whose backpack has a dog attached to it.
And that boy is none other than Marccram.
Yes, Mark Cram is like, there must be 100 dogs out there. I don't know why they keep chasing me.
He turns around and there's actually a dog cinched to his backpack.
Does it look like a real dog to you?
Yes and no. I'm sure it is a real dog.
Either way, he leaves with the dog. Kenan tries to tell him again, but he says, I don't have time for this. I've got to go spend.
I don't know why he's buying all these things. Oh my goodness. It's painful, but it's great, Chris. Okay, it's not a cape. It looks like it's an overcoat. You can see the sleeves.
It's an overcoat worn as if it was a cape.
Yep.
Who enters Rigby's next?
Kel, followed by a police officer.
Yes, and this policeman, he's kind of like telling Kenan that he's like, I gotta write your ticket because your bike is chained to the fire hydrant.
And then Kenan's like, oh, I see, Mr. Police Officer. Nice try, Kel.
Yeah,
And then he rips up the citation.
and he's like, well, I am a real police officer. That was a real ticket. And Kenan does a big show. He's like, ooh, yes, I'm sure this is a very real hat you got here. And look, this is some very real cream corn that I'm gonna pour inside of it.
Pours the cream corn in the hat, puts the cream corn hat on the police officer, and then he gets some shaving cream.
Yep.
Makes a beard.
Makes him a shaving cream beard.
He's just humiliating this police officer, and this police officer is just taking it like a champ.
Yep.
For some reason. Clearly he's laughing
Well,
as this happens.
yes. Then it smash cuts to Kenan saying, how was I supposed to know you're a real police officer? Jail slams on him. This is awesome. Halfway through this episode, Kenan's in jail.
Yep, halfway through.
Like, what an episode. Because the cream corn hat thing wasn't super funny. I don't know if I've ever really laughed at it hard. But it's real fast. It's like less than a minute, and now we're on to the next joke.
13 with the pieces.
And 14 is what Kel did. And that we're about to discover. The police officer was just bad luck.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kenan's attitude of being paranoid has got hit immediate karma. He's in jail.
That's right. Yeah, he put out that negative energy.
And because he and Kel didn't respect their truce, he assumed this police officer was a prank.
And now it's gotten Kenan locked up behind bars.
As we come back from the commercial break, Kel's hanging onto the door of the jail cell as a police officer puts a maniac, I think as I'll call him, into the jail cell and closes it.
Yeah, he looks like a meth head. That's not nice. He looks like a user of meth. One who uses meth.
He's a person of meth.
He's a meth-using person.
Yeah, there you go. So Kenan's like, how is he a real police officer? He wrote me up for moving my bike. My bike wasn't chained there. And then Kel's like, kind of like, yes, it was. I moved it. April Fools.
Yeah. And then Kenan's like, oh, man. And Kel goes, don't worry, I'll get you out. And he does the same Karate Kid thing that he did in the beginning, in the intro, and tries to kick the gate open.
And he's like, oh, it's locked.
Kenan goes over to the telephone, which is conveniently inside the jail cell.
Yep.
Which I don't think that's a thing. But
No, me neither. But it's convenient that he can do his one phone call without breaking up the scene.
And we go over to Roger and Cheryl, who are a mess. Cheryl still has the face mask on. And Roger is pouring hot water. He has an oven mitt on. He's pouring like a kettle water in his mouth, trying to undo the cement.
This is a very fun subplot of Roger trying to get the cement out.
It's everybody else dealing with the ramifications of Kenan's pranks.
And speaking of, he calls them and he tells them, he's like, I'm kind of in jail. And his mom doesn't believe him.
Yep.
Yeah, after all the pranks that he's pulled, like, when something real happens, he cried wolf too many times, and now they hang up on him.
Yep. It's basically like the oldest story that you tell to children. It's like...
Yeah, well, it helps.
The boy who cried wolf.
I think it's a very important lesson for kids to learn early on. Honesty.
Yeah.
It's a very important virtue, and if everyone in society was dishonest, then society would collapse.
Yep.
Basically.
Well, I think we're there.
yeah, right. No, it's there's positions like the presidency where everyone just had an honor system for so many years. And then,
kind of, yeah.
Then someone's showed up and you're like, wait, I can just lie and no one's going to call me on it. Yeah. And then what's the worst that can happen? And we're seeing what the worst that can happen is.
And other politicians are like, wait a second, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, we can just not say the truth anymore.
And nobody's going to say anything. They're just going to say that we said it.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do anything. Kenan's talking on the phone, and then Sir Meth is standing behind him, just shadowing over him, and his arms are crossed, and he's nodding and like patting Kenan's back, like in affirmation. I think he has a turtle tattoo.
He gets very friendly with Kenan.
I think he also has a hippo tattoo. He loves his semi-aquatic animals.
Yeah, he gets very friendly with them. And so he says, as soon as he hangs up, he's like, that's a nice watch. And then he says, I said that's a nice watch.
And Kenan just kind of submits and takes it off.
Which is, that's bad. I have to point out right there, that's a $10,000 watch. and that even if Chris is like selling things and giving things back, post this prank, that's $10,000 that he definitely lost.
Here's bad writing for you, Adam.
Hmm?
This is bad writing. Ready? He could have given that watch as bail.
Well, I think you need cash bail. You can't just give them things on your possessions.
Oh, come on!
Yeah,
it's a gold watch.
That's how it works.
$10,000.
Specifically, they should have probably taken like his stuff and put him in a little locker. Like, you don't have your wallet when you're sitting in jail. I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe you do. This is not jail. This is just kind of like county jail.
Yeah, it's the holding cell.
Not even county jail. It's just like town jail.
Well, we clearly don't know much about ship anatomy, and we don't know about how jails work.
Don't you say I don't know much about ship anatomy. I know a lot about pirates. I watched all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
How was it? Increasingly bad?
Those movies are great.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the early ones.
Those movies are great. Okay. Anyways, Roger, by the way, was on the phone, and he was going...
Yeah, I like how he weighed in, even though he doesn't talk at all.
Yeah.
We cut back to the Rockmores. Not a lot of transitions this episode. It's an interesting, I guess, editing technique. Maybe just because of how quickly we go between scenes.
Right.
And how much episode there is. We see all these gadgets on the table that Roger's been using to try and crack open his mouth.
Yep. What do you see here, Adam?
It looks like there's like I would call it like a welding torch. Like there's some like a crowbar,
a hammer, a whisk, an electric knife, spackle thing,
and finally a fork, which is in his mouth, and he literally breaks trying to get this cement out.
Yeah, it must have been fun to like put all that stuff out. Yeah, but this fork breaks.
And Cheryl's doing the talking for both of them now. Is just like, this is the last straw. We're going to beat Kenan at his own game.
Yep. I've had enough of these jokes. Like, we just need to teach that boy a lesson.
And now we go back to the jail cell. One of my favorite Kel scenes of all time.
This is pretty great.
So Kel sneaks over to the jail cell, and what's he got in his hands?
A chocolate cake with a saw just sticking out of it.
Yeah, the saw is this enormous saw that's clearly visible in this cake. And he says to Kenan, "Hey, Kenan, I saw that you might be hungry. That's what I saw."
Eat it. I hope it doesn't break you out.
He's like winking at him and stuff like that. And then Kenan's like, "Kel, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, you see, it's a cake, and there's a saw that I put inside of it, so that you can cut the bars open and then be free."
And meanwhile, while this is happening, the officer has snuck behind Kel and is just watching this whole thing transpire. And Kenan's trying to give him the eyes, like, "Kel,
Yeah, and
knock it off."
and like everyone's like, he's like, "Everyone can see the saw." He's like, "Can they?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then the officer's like, "Yeah, everyone can." And then he starts laughing.
So he puts the cake over there.
He's like, "And it's illegal."
He just opens the jail cell, puts Kel in it, closes the jail cell. Kenan and Kel are together in the jail cell, and Kel goes, "Wait, one last thing."
Oh, Kel goes, "Wait, don't worry, I got a plan. Hey, can I see that cake?"
He goes, "No." And Kel goes, "Oh, man." He knows.
Tries again another phone call. I guess maybe he's using Kel's phone call to call Charla.
Yep. Meanwhile, Kel is playing with toilet paper.
Yeah, it's hilarious. In the background, you see him like waving the toilet paper around like a ribbon, and he wraps it around like the meth guy, and pulls him close. Then he starts like choking him.
And then the guy's just like stepping towards him, like, "Hey, stop it, man."
Yeah. So while he's bothering them, Kenan's just talking to them. He's like, "If you see Chris, tell him help."
Right, because Chris has all the money.
Yep.
So Charla is, we stay over with Charla here after that scene. And I don't know what she's doing. She's playing with clothespins.
Yeah, she's like stacking clothespins like a Jenga tower.
Yep. And then a bunch of guys come in. Or one guy comes in from the pizza farm. And he goes, "Hey, are you Charla?" "Yeah,
Well,
I'm Charla."
Aaron, how do you know that he's from the pizza farm?
He's wearing a shirt that says Pizza Farm on it.
Now sold at Rockmore and Kimball.
Oh, yes!
If you want a blue shirt with regular font on it that says Pizza Farm, today's your lucky day.
Oh, my God.
You can buy yourself a Pizza Farm t-shirt.
At tpublic.com.
Yeah, TeePublic, Rockmore and Kimball, the Kenan Kel podcast, very own t-shirt store.
Wow. I'm looking at it right now.
At this time, there's a sale there for 15% off.
15% off.
Featuring
This
all
is
the joke
outstanding.
t-shirts of Kenan and Kel.
Thank you for making this, Adam.
Yeah, sure thing. We sold another one.
Did we?
Yes.
To who?
Our Fantas, apparently. Then he's like, "Hey, are you Charlotte?" He's like, "Yes, I am." Great, we got an order. And 9 guys enter, all wearing Pizza Farm shirts and hats. And they got just stacks of pizzas.
So, Adam, if one guy is carrying 2 pizzas, and 9 other guys?
9 guys, yeah.
Okay, and 9 guys are carrying boxes of pizza. How many boxes of pizza does each person have?
Let's see. 8 and 1. 81 is if it was multiplied by 9 times 7. 9 times. Hang on. 9
What is that?
9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 8 is 72. So approximately they're each carrying. Oh, hang on. It was 8 people. Yeah, they're each carrying like 9 pizzas.
That was painful to listen to.
I didn't have a calculator handy.
As a math instructor.
Well, that was my thought process.
Well, oh, great.
Speaking to the season finale, like the spiritual finale, I feel like this is an episode where everyone was on set and they bought pizza for everyone.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so that's
like
why
that's
they have like
definitely true.
all those pizza boxes.
Yep. Then like she's like, I didn't order these pizzas. I can't. I don't have 900 and how much was it? $930.
$12.
$912.
Aaron, if there's 75 pizzas in Daytona, how much? How much is these pizza? if the total's $912.
I will tell you later.
It's about $12 each.
$12 each, and in this economy. And then they basically intimidate her. They say, "Look, you ordered the pizzas. You're paying for the pizzas," and they all step closer to her.
It's very scary.
This other guy says, "Don't forget the tip."
Yeah, every time that he says $912, he's like, plus tip.
We cut back to prison, and Adam, who else is in prison?
Mark Cram.
What happened?
His backpack's been destroyed, and he was arrested for dog napping.
He still has his backpack in there, which is nice in case they want any raw meat. He goes, "I don't understand." And then he runs over to the gate, and he says, "But I'm innocent. INNOCENT. Innocent."
He shouts that. Then he sees the meth guy next to him. He's like, "Oh, hey, that's a nice watch."
And he's like, "Yeah, look at this."
Yeah.
And then Chris walks over.
Oh,
he goes,
I just realized that's a Mark thing. He appreciates watches.
"Oh my gosh."
I didn't even put that together. But yeah, no, he's a watch head.
Oh, what a great callback.
Yeah,
That's a great Mark Cram callback. Like, Mark, what are your character's traits? Photography, spelling things, smart, watches. Boom.
Yeah, that's actually really good writing. Yeah, Chris pulls up. "I got here as soon as my limo could."
He goes, "Men?" He addresses them, "Men?"
"I'll bail you out. In fact, I'll bail all of you out."
And he pulls out his checkbook, a magical checkbook.
And the cop he's like, "This will cover it. I put some money in there for your troubles."
"Don't worry about it. I'm a millionaire." They're like saying they'd pay him back.
And he's looking at us like, "Oh, you're Chris Potter? You're the Chris Potter?"
Yep.
He's like, "Well, if you say so." He opens up the door, and he pushes Chris in and shuts it.
My favorite part is he wrote a check and he said, "Keep the change. I'm very, very rich."
So yeah, he tells him that you've been writing bad checks all over town.
We got you.
Yeah, which is yes. Even if Chris truly won the lottery,
He's still writing bad checks.
yes, he needs the cash first. So this is kind of on Chris.
Yep. And then he loses his cool. It's like if you locked up Jeff Bezos and they won't let him out. That's how much he loses his cool. Wouldn't that be great? Like if somebody accidentally arrested Jeff Bezos and he was all mad.
Yeah, because he would be shouting the same stuff that Chris is shouting right now, which is like, "I'll buy this jail and fire you."
Don't you forget it, buddy.
Yeah, and Kenan has to break it to him. There's like, "Actually, Chris, it was kind of an April Fool's joke."
See, the richness thing, you know. And then Roger and Cheryl back at the Rockmore residence.
Roger and Cheryl are waiting for Kenan to come back, and they got 2 buckets.
And so there's a knock at the door, and they think it's their son, who was clearly pranking them about jail.
Yeah.
They say, "Come in." Person comes in. Obviously not Kenan, but Roger and Cheryl don't recognize that. And so they pour pancake batter and hot fudge on them.
Ice cream and hot fudge is what I think they're
Ice
going
cream.
for.
Okay.
But it's very melted.
Very, very melted.
I love the recruiter because like he has one line and it's in the scene. He's just like, "Hello." It's so chipper. He's so happy to be a college recruiter, and then he gets covered by ice cream and hot fudge.
Yeah, that has to be one of the worst thing that's ever happened to him on the job.
I would have the exact same reaction if that happened to me anywhere. I would just start screaming.
Like, what? Yeah. So then we have this great moment, and they're like, they finally realize Roger, of course, still can't talk. And then we have this great Virgil, probably one of Virgil's best pieces of work in this entire series.
It's a pan across everyone that's in jail.
Yep, through the bars.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with, it's going right to left.
Yes, it's going right to left. We start with Kenan, who's sad.
Yep, he's kind of just reflecting on all of his choices. We go to Kel, who has like the paper gingerbread man thing, like all holding hands.
Yeah, he's making folding paper men. So he's fine in jail.
He'd be fine in jail, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark is sad.
Mm-hmm. And then Chris is like, basically, he's confessing all the things that he bought, like to the meth guy.
I guess I'll have to return to the speedboat I got Mother.
Yep. Hey, that's a nice watch.
My favorite part is Chris is just an idiot.
Yeah, he kind of is, isn't he?
Like, something happened to everybody else here. They were the victims of these crimes. But Chris is kind of just stupid.
He's kind of his own undoing here.
Right. And so then the officer walks back, dragging Charla into the jail cell.
Which, I feel bad for Charlotte here. When Alexis Fields did these episodes, she at the season 4 episodes at least, she's got a lot of emotion. It's very much her, she's putting a lot of effort into her acting performance. She's very emotional about it, and she's like, yeah, she tells everyone, she's like, yeah, I someone put a giant pizza order in my name, Kenan.
She still has her diamond tiara, and the the meth man says, hey, that's a nice tiara.
So actually, I just looked it up. This guy is played by an actor called Michael Grief.
Oh my god.
He best known for he's a New York guy, believe it or not. He's credited as tough guy in this one, but he plays a bunch of bouncers and people like that. He's in iCarly, an episode, and I think he's best known for his role in Liar Liar. He plays a guy called Van Driver.
Okay.
Oh, not a guy called Van Driver. I just realized. Yeah, he is a van driver in Liar Liar.
It's a van driver named Van Driver.
That's probably his name. All right. But anyway, yeah, so Charla enters, and following Charla, Roger and Cheryl are brought to the inn.
Cheryl's still with the face mask on.
Yep, Roger with his cement mouth is still there. They brought it. The angry recruiter called the cops. What does he say to Kenan?
You must be Kenan Rockmore. Yeah, I'm the recruiter from Southwest Northern College. Your application has been denied.
Rips it up and he leaves.
Throws it on the ground and leaves. And so now literally everybody is in the jail cell looking at Kenan.
This is also the same way that the Seinfeld series ends. The final episode.
Is it?
Yeah, they all go to jail for being bad people. Basically.
When did that end? What year?
I think a couple years before this one.
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, it's definitely 90s.
I want to say 10 seasons. 1998's when it ended.
Yeah. This seems like that.
9 seasons. So yeah, it could be an homage to that. But yeah, they are all in the jail cell, and as they're putting together here, Kenan, this is all your fault.
Yep.
They're like, you did the lottery prank, you called the pizzas, and Kel's like, yeah, and you put the meat in Mark's backpack.
And you made me think I was rich.
I'm sorry, I jumped over a really good line here that I want to point out. Is that when Charla is telling them what happened, Kel says a line that's is not a Kel line. It's unlike anything he's ever delivered before or said before, but it's really, really funny. He says, in response to Charla getting arrested, he says, wow, the city's really cracking down on crime. It's about time. Totally
that
straight
is great.
Like that.
That is a great line.
They put it all together. That's Kenan's fault. And how does the episode end, Aaron?
They basically all start beating Kenan up in the jail cell.
Yeah, Chris is hitting with his cane, and he's pressed against the bars as they're all attacking him.
And that's the episode. I do have the outro, believe it or not. I think I just forgot about it.
Yes, the outro. Kenan Kel pull aside directors' chairs that have the Kenan Kel logo on them, and they're like, "Hey, here at the Kenan Kel Show, we're all about playing practical jokes, but in real life, practical jokes are no joking matter."
Right. This is just a TV show.
Yeah. There's nothing funny about filling the library with cottage cheese. Or putting an armadillo in somebody's pants. And after he says that, they kind of start laughing.
It's so funny, because these two can't be serious.
Yeah. What do you have what Cal says here?
There's nothing funny about switching your sister's toilet paper with sandpaper. That's bad.
Yeah, that's really bad. And they're like, if you must joke, joke responsibly. But then they start like laughing, and then a record scratches over the nice music that plays, and they're just like, yeah, all right, let's get out of here.
Just a friendly message from your friends at Kenan and Kel. Yep, and then they get up. Oh, forget it. Yeah, brother. Why don't you grab me some cottage cheese and an armadillo and a whole mess of sandpaper and meet me at the school library. Come on, Plucky.
He runs away, and Kel's just like, Kenan, what if the armadillo eats the cottage cheese? Kenan, what's an armadillo?
Kenan, here it goes.
That's the episode. The April Fools.
That was a good episode.
I think we've pointed this out before, but it's an episode where that can only happen in the final season when they're like so on their game. Right. They've done this so many times. They know what's up. They know the characters so well, and they bring them all together for this big, epic, fast-paced explosion of talents.
Yep, and everybody's in it except for Kyra.
No, Kyra. She got done dirty this season.
She is the supporting actress in this season. It's
even
just sad.
Even dirtier than all the other seasons. She's in like one, maybe 2 episodes this one.
Yeah. Poor Kyra.
But besides that, yeah, no, this very, very good stuff. Aaron, whose fault do you think this episode was? Kenan's or Kel's?
Kenan's.
As everyone agrees at the end there. So no debating that. I have a quick piece of listener feedback.
Go ahead. I love listener feedback.
Replying from our segment last episode, aka Johnny T got back to us.
Johnny
was the guy with the Kenan Kel birthday party.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, he said that update. We have started listing since you first reached out. Great suggestions. We'll definitely start working with some of those ideas. Also, notice that Kel is on Cameo, so we'll probably get him involved too. Thanks again. Keep up the good work.
Well, if Kel's on Cameo, we could. Yeah.
I wonder if that's allowed.
We could pay to talk to him, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Which is true. Although I always feel very weird about Cameo myself.
I've never used it.
It's kind of like everyone just kind of shilling their greatest moments. If you want to hear the guy that plays Kevin from The Office, like, talk about you and your friends all getting to know each other in the pod or something.
Right.
Or
this is expensive.
Yeah.
Personal use $159. For business $500.
Oh, well,
Ooh, Cameo calls. He's not using it yet.
If we don't mention the t-shirts, I think we can call it personal use.
Somebody used it 14 days ago.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe we could just talk to Kel regularly.
Yeah, I think we could do that.
Yeah, hey, Kel, we did 60 episodes about your program. We've talked for over 60 hours about you.
We're definitely not the average fan.
We are not.
Yeah. We'd love to talk to Kel. Or Kenan. Or Dan.
Any of them. I want to talk to Virgil, I think. I want to skid behind his head.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that'd be a great conversation.
So, The April Fools. On IMDb, The April Fools is ranked at 8.1 out of 10, with 9 out of 62 episodos.
Yeah.
Although, I just checked the regular IMDb that's up to date, it's 7.9. What have you. Out of 10 bottles of orange soda.
10. 11.
Out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many do you give The April Fools?
I think I would give it an 8.
I
think I'm right on board with IMDb. Yeah. Because it was funny. I liked Chris's character a lot. I don't know. I just feel this one at an 8.
All right. Nothing bad about that. I want this episode to be in the running for like my top episodes.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna change it to a 9.
For that reason, and something I might knock it down a little bit later, but this episode's a 10 out of 10 in my heart and on paper.
It is executed to perfection.
Yeah, I have no places where I think they could improve. Some of the jokes weren't super good, but the speed at which they're delivered and the number of them wins me over. So,
yeah, I mean, how many pranks were there at the end? 13?
Yeah, like 13, 14 pranks. That's a lot of bang for your buck. halfway through, like, Kenan's in jail. That's already a whole plot episode of its own.
And then everybody else follows him. It's like he's there. The rest of, all of his karma is coming back to bite him in the butt as he's getting beat up in the final scene.
It is perfect escalation.
It really is.
As none better than Kenan Kel can do. So, next week, the final episode of the Kenan Kel series, besides the TV movie that we'll do after that.
Yeah, we can't leave you guys hanging. Okay,
No.
So we have Tales from the Clip, which I would imagine is a clip show.
Yes, and that's why it's kind of not something the Super celebrates. This one was actually we'll talk about it next time. So join us then when we look back at our favorite moments from Kenan and Kel. And Aaron, this episode, I gotta tell you, a quick pitch here at the final hour here. What I'd like to do for this one is that they're going to show clips from the episodes that show examples of stuff. I want you to review those clips and tell me if you think there's any that might be better suited for those sequences.
I thought you were going to say, I think we should review the clips of the podcast when we talk about those clips.
Oh God, that might be really hard.
It might be very difficult.
Well, maybe we'll have our own separate clip show episode.
I think we could do that too.
Yeah. So I'll write this up later. I'll do it right now. But yeah,
I'm on board, Adam.
All right, cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on another wonderful episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron.
We're so glad you've stuck with us this long, and we are excited for this final little push. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you next week. And until then, drink some orange soda and prank somebody you love and fill the library with cottage cheese. And all here it goes.
Thank you for listening. You can send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at Kenan Kel Podcast.
Why?
Kenan and Kel get themselves into a boatload of trouble, or should I say, a poop deck worth of trouble.
I don't really know what that means.
Did you know that? Did you ever realize what the poop deck was?
You mean the part of the ship where the birds poop on?
No, people had to poop on that.
Really?
Well, I just made this up, but it makes sense, right? So
I think they would sooner just hang over the side of the boat.
What's a terrible punishment, right? Well, you have to scrub the poop deck, right? I feel like that's where it was like a slanted part of the boat where you would poop and then the poop would slide off into the ocean. Because you can't just hang off the side of the boat. What if you hit a wave? You're going to fall off. If you fall off, you're gone. So they probably had a poop deck where they pooped and the poop fell off the boat.
It's called a poop deck because it's from the French word for stern. So basically, it's the stern deck, it's the back deck, it's the butt deck. That's why it's called the poop deck.
Yeah, that's where people pooped. Where else would they poop? Why would you poop into a bucket when you have the ocean right there? Okay, sorry.